Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 2020 celebration of grants. My name is Laurie Tumbler, and I am the board chair for the Women's Fund of Santa Barbara. Last year, we were all celebrating our grantees together. But, as Monty Python would say, and now for something completely different. Even though we're not all together, we're really not alone. We're just together in a different way. We're so glad that you're joining us today as we award $685,000 in grants to change lives and strengthen our community. We proudly announce and honor our 9 new grantees that you, our Women's Fund members, have selected to receive transformational grants this year. In these unsettled times, it's important that the Women's Fund is continuing its 16-year course of helping our most vulnerable neighbors through providing significant grants to our nonprofit partner organizations. Our new grantees provide critical long-term services for women, children, families, and seniors in South Santa Barbara County. This afternoon is about the power of compassion and care and providing hope and enrichment. So I invite you to sit back with me as we hear from each of our new grantees who will be joining us live to share stories about the extraordinary work their organizations are doing. In the fall, we will offer you many opportunities to speak with and visit to learn from our new grantees through our Women's Fund Grants in Action events. In the meantime, you can learn more about the grantees on our website. This is our first live virtual event, so we beg your patience as there might be a technical glitch or two. We are recording this celebration and will make it available on the Women's Fund YouTube channel with a link from our website. And now, it is my great pleasure to introduce Maureen Ellenberger and Sabina White, the co-chairs of our extraordinary research committee. Maureen?
Thanks so much, Laurie, and good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Research Committee, Sabina and I are thrilled to share the culmination of the many hours of work learning about organizations, projects, and getting to know many of the great people in our nonprofit community. In just a few minutes, you'll hear from 9 of these people who are here to accept their awards totaling $685,000 based on your thoughtful and deliberative votes. Typically, this is where I would provide a brief summary of our research process, but as Laurie said, this is not a typical year. If you are a new member or would like a refresher on the research process, please go to the Women's Fund website and check out the How We Work section. As you might recall, we finished the ballot review meeting on March 4th, and then our world began to change pretty rapidly. I am sure you all remember learning how to have your first Zoom meeting so that you could have your group meetings to decide who you were voting for. The final votes came in on March 28th to a world that none of us might have imagined at the beginning of the month. At that point, the Women's Fund Board decided that it was necessary to review the newly selected list of projects and grantees in light of the uncertainty and changing environment. We put a 4-person team of finance, membership, and research chairs all together to reach out to our new grantees and to do an extra level of diligence with an eye towards flexibility and support of our new agencies that we were going to be working with this year. We then set up video calls with all of them. We ended up making 9 calls over the course of 2 days. It was an incredibly uplifting experience for all of us. Not only did each of the leaders and their teams tell us how grateful they were for being a new Women's Fund grantee, but we heard over and over that with the current environment, this grant could not have come at a better time. They described how the grant would fit into their real-time response to the impact of current events. But they also reminded us of how the award would allow them to prepare for the future and our new normal. For me personally, it's cemented in my mind how great the Women's Fund research and voting process is, and how important our grant making is to this community. We are happy to report that upon the unanimous recommendation of our team, all projects will be moving ahead with their scope and dollar amounts intact. And when you see lots of smiles on the grantees' faces today, you'll know that all the grant awards have already been distributed. In some cases, our grantees have accelerated their plans to put these new projects into place. We are so proud and humbled by the work these organizations have done, are doing, and will be doing in the future to make our community stronger and supportive of all who lives here. Now, without further ado, I am honored to hand it over to my friend and co-chair, Sabina White, to introduce our new grantees. Sabina, take it away.
Thank you, Maureen, and good afternoon, everyone. It is my great honor and privilege to announce the results of this year's Women Fund Awards, and they're based on your votes. Our first grant in the amount of $100,000 is awarded to Second Story Associates. This grant will pay for 2 part-time support staff who will coordinate the physical and mental health needs of their low-income residents. This grant is also awarded to Santa Barbara Housing Authority, and I would like you to please welcome Skip Szymanski, President, Second Story Associates.
Thank you, Sabina. On behalf of Second Story Associates, I offer my sincere thanks to the Women's Fund of Santa Barbara for your very generous support of our Senior Supportive Services Program. Many of our senior residents have chronic physical and mental health conditions that make it difficult for them to perform daily activities such as meal preparation, laundry, or even personal care. While we want to increase the quality of life for our seniors, we also want to avoid eviction. One of the leading factors for eviction with our seniors is their inability to maintain independent living. Your grant will help avoid this situation. By funding a half-time registered nurse and a half-time clinical social worker dedicated to work with the hundreds of low-income seniors, we can help our residents remain safely in their homes. Right now, for instance, we have a frail elderly woman in her mid-90s. She is constantly complaining to the apartment manager and the maintenance crews that her apartment is cold, her stove does not work, and there are noises coming from the walls. She has called the police so many times, they ask, what can we do for her to avoid the calls? She is very frail, and we are concerned she is a threat to herself, others, and the property, and that she may eventually lose her housing. These two new field workers will be able to address her needs, give her the opportunity to improve her quality of life, and ultimately help her remain comfortably in her home. While these situations are common in our low-income senior community, this grant comes at a particularly critical time due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Being able to bring these services to our seniors will reduce their exposure to this deadly disease. Providing these needed services in-home and directly to those in need not only benefits our senior residents, but our entire community. These services will help address both the physical and behavioral health needs of our clients and will also decrease the demand on emergency service providers, hospitals, and social service agencies. All of you, The Women's Fund are a part of this solution. Thank you again for your very generous support of Second Story and for your support of the low-income seniors in our community. Thank you.
Congratulations, Housing Authority and Second Story Associates, and thank you, Skip. Now, I am happy to tell you about our next grant of $60,000 that goes to Doctors Without Walls, Santa Barbara Street Medicine. With this grant, Doctors Without Walls will hire a companion care worker to provide health care outreach to the homeless for 25 hours per week during the daylight. Please join me in welcoming Maggie Sanchez, Secretary Treasurer, Doctors Without Walls.
Good evening, members and grantees. It is with great honor that I accept the 2020 Women's Fund Grant Award for Doctors Without Walls, Santa Barbara Street Medicine. Street medicine is the term we use to define the work done by our volunteers, medical practitioners, homeless, formerly homeless, outreach workers, and other professionals who deliver healthcare and related services directly to people who live and sleep on the streets, in encampments, abandoned buildings, freeway underpasses, wherever they are. For some time, Doctors Without Walls has realized that because our volunteers were either pre-med students in school or clinicians at their day jobs, we were unable to effectively meet the needs of our homeless populations during the day. This grant, which will provide for a 3/4 time outreach worker, will help us to provide medical services to these most vulnerable populations during the day. This grant is particularly timely because it will help us meet our biggest challenge to date, to reduce the spread of COVID-19 while providing the best medical care possible to Santa Barbara's most vulnerable populations. People experiencing homelessness are extremely vulnerable because they so often have underlying medical conditions that place them at high risk of death from COVID-19, such as cardiopulmonary disease, diabetes, HIV, and other immune impairing illnesses, malnutrition, and substance use disorders. Prior to COVID-19, people experiencing unsheltered homelessness, rough sleepers, were about 10 times more likely to die than the general population and 3 times more likely to die than people sleeping in shelters. Now those sleeping in shelters are in more danger from COVID-19 due to the lack of social distancing. For this reason, our homeless populations have been advised to shelter in place and to isolate if symptoms appear. In response, Doctors Without Walls has increased our street medicine outreach missions to provide medical services and reassurances that we are here to help. This included recently implementing a new telemedicine platform that allows a nurse-led team to an outreach mission while a clinician is on call to respond to medical needs and wherever people are sheltering in place. It now will include more daytime outreach because of this grant. So I want to thank you, Women Fund members, for understanding our needs and continuing to fund us as we serve our community.
Thank you, Maggie, and congratulations to Doctors Without Walls. It is my pleasure to announce our 3rd grant in the amount of $80,000, which goes to Easy Lift Transportation to implement same-day dial-a-ride service for seniors who have urgent appointments or needs. Please welcome Ernesto Paredes, Executive Director, Easy Lift Transportation.
Thank you, Sabina. It is an absolute pleasure to be with all of you today. Considering this past month and all the Zoom calls I've been on, this is the absolute best. I'd like to first start and congratulate all my fellow recipients. It's an exciting fraternity or sorority to be part of, so that's exciting. Also want to thank the sponsors to this event, because I know without sponsors, this doesn't happen. When we were notified that we were selected to receive a grant, immediately there were three feelings I got that came over me. Those were gratitude, humility, and excitement. First, gratitude. You see, having been awarded a grant from the Women's Fund many years ago, I absolutely understand and appreciate the process. The project we proposed was developed when I received a call from a lady who was trying to receive a same-day ride for her husband. You see, their doctor had an opening for a medical procedure and needed that appointment for that particular day. Well, we were able to provide them that ride for the same day. It turned out he had the early stages of prostate cancer. And had he not had that available, he would have had to wait another 8 weeks before that urgently appointment was able to get satisfied. So we were very thankful to be able to provide that ride for him. We also want to thank the members of the Women's Fund, who have heard and understood our mission and entrusted us to deliver high quality service to some of our most vulnerable seniors. Immediately following my sense of gratitude was that of humility. You see, I've been working in this nonprofit sector for over 30 years with seniors and children and families and people with disabilities. There are a lot of outstanding organizations, including those before you today, who are doing incredible, important work. I can assure you that if you have an open mind and an open heart, this process will be so insightful and the wisdom you will receive will be incredible, whether you are a winner of a grant or not. But believe me, we love our grant. We understand this award doesn't necessarily make us better than any other organization. But what this grant does do, it gives us the opportunity to be a better version of ourselves. Thirdly, that was of excitement. This award allows us to immediately serve frail seniors today, to work with their families and to access healthcare and nutrition today. I can imagine the excitement that one must feel as a doctor bringing a baby into this world, or a teacher watching their students graduate, or a first responder saving someone's life. We get that same feeling just knowing we made a difference in the life of a fellow human being. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ernesto, and congratulations to Easy Lift Transportation. I'm so pleased to be able to announce our fourth grant in the amount of $65,000, which goes to the Goleta Education Foundation to develop a STEAM lab at El Camino Elementary School. This new lab will enrich the educational opportunities for all pre-K through grade 6 students and families at El Camino. Please welcome Amanda Martinez, Principal, El Camino Elementary School.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you this evening to celebrate such impactful community organizations. On behalf of El Camino Elementary School, the Goleta Union School District, and the Goleta Education Foundation, let me express our sincere gratitude for selecting us as a grant recipient. We are honored to be considered by such an impactful volunteer women's group who focuses on changing the lives of women, children, and families. The mission of the Goleta Union School District is to maximize academic, intellectual, and personal growth in order for each student to prosper in and positively influence a diverse and dynamic world. At El Camino, we believe that we do our best work in tandem with our families and the surrounding community. These core values are showcased every day in the teachers and staff that provide meaningful learning experiences to our preschool through 6th grade students with support from community volunteers. The STEAM Lab will provide experiential learning and guide our students in honing skills that will prepare them for careers in fields that are poised for extensive growth in the coming decades. It will provide our children an inclusive learning environment where they will delve into the fields of science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics in a way that will ignite their passions for inquiry and foster novel problem-solving methods. This past year, our students have worked on a variety of projects, including coding with VBots and Spheros, creating stop animation films with homemade green screens, iPads, and miniature figures, building robots out of recyclable materials, learning about electrical circuitry, and building their own bridges. The smiles and excitement that you see in these pictures truly are priceless. Thank you for giving us the means to create a STEAM lab where children from all walks of life will be given the chance to dream, create, collaborate, and build their self-confidence. We appreciate you sharing this dream with us.
Thank you, Amanda, and congratulations to El Camino School and the Goleta Education Foundation. And now, I am proud to announce our next grant in the amount of $65,000, which goes to the Santa Barbara County Immigrant Legal Defense Center. This grant will be used to partially fund an immigration attorney who will support the volunteer lawyers representing local families facing deportation. Please join me in welcoming Julissa Peña, Executive Director of the ILDC.
Good evening, everyone. I never thought I would be giving a speech in my parents' home with my Mexican grandfather looking over my shoulder. It makes this day even more special. Thank you for this opportunity. To all members of the Women's Fund, thank you for your generosity, leadership, and support of great causes in our community. As an emerging woman leader and daughter of immigrant parents, I am motivated and humbled by the collective power of the Women's Fund to defend the most vulnerable in our community. Your generosity helps provide equal access to justice and due process so that no one in Santa Barbara County, including children, will face immigration court alone. I would like to introduce you to two of our clients who, because of you, will now appear before judges and immigration officers with a lawyer at their side. Rocio from Guerrero, Mexico, is the single mother of 3 young girls. Rocio was beaten and assaulted daily in front of her children by her husband. When she was refused help from the local police, she sought asylum in the US with her 3 young girls. They spent 90 days in detention before they were released on parole to Rocio's sister in Carpinteria. Today, Rocio is an agricultural worker who risks her own health in the midst of the pandemic so she can continue to support her daughters. Alejandro, an avocado picker on a ranch in Santa Barbara and father of 5 US citizen children, was arrested by ICE on his way to work. He called his wife to come retrieve his work truck. When his wife and 4-year-old son arrived, the child ran to his father and clung to his leg as ICE officials handcuffed Alejandro and took him away. These are the heartbreaking stories ILDC hears every day, but our courageous volunteers and volunteer attorneys help these immigrant families navigate the complexities of US immigration law. These are our immigrant neighbors and their children. ILDC is currently the only nonprofit organization in Santa Barbara County fighting to keep immigrant families together. I am forever indebted to you for demonstrating that the women of Santa Barbara believe in equal access to justice and due process for all. On behalf of our immigrant neighbors, volunteer attorneys, drivers, translators, psychologists, and board members, I thank you once again for your exemplary leadership in our community to defend and protect the most vulnerable. Thank you.
Congratulations to the Santa Barbara County Immigrant Legal Defense Center. And thank you for your presentation, Julissa. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our sixth grantee. The Women's Fund will provide $90,000 to the Santa Barbara Education Foundation and the Santa Barbara Unified School District to purchase and implement the Sources of Strength Suicide Prevention Program at Santa Barbara, Dos Pueblos, and San Marcos High Schools. Please welcome Fran Wageneck, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, Santa Barbara Unified School District.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of the Santa Barbara Unified School District, the Santa Barbara Education Foundation, and the Santa Barbara Response Network, I'd like to thank the Women's Fund for your commitment to the mental and emotional wellness of the youth in our community. Student wellness is absolutely essential to learning and achieving optimal academic outcomes. Youth suicide is on the rise nationally, and Santa Barbara is no exception. In 2019, the results of the California Healthy Kids Survey showed that 11% of students in grades 7 through 12 in our district had considered suicide in the past year. That equates to nearly 1,000 youth. 24 students actually attempted suicide last year. And tragically, we lost a 9th grade student to suicide in February of this year. This is a public health crisis, and therefore it requires a community response. In the past 3 years, Santa Barbara Unified has worked with our community partners, most notably Family Service Agency and CALM, to create interventions for children and youth. This work has resulted in a reduction in the number of suicide attempts and a drop in the number of students reporting thoughts of suicide. Nevertheless, the numbers of attempts, completions, and rates of anxiety and depression locally are still too high. What Sources of Strength will bring to our high school campuses is an evidence-based suicide prevention program that utilizes peer leaders to enhance protective factors such as regulation of emotions, coping strategies, and youth-adult relationships. These are all factors proven to reduce suicide attempts across a diversity of a school's population. Now, beyond its fundamental purpose of suicide prevention, Sources of Strength also targets maladaptive behaviors that occur alongside thoughts of suicide, such as violence, bullying, and substance abuse. This is achieved by training and empowering peer leaders and caring adults to support struggling students through personal connection, hope, help, and strength. So again, on behalf of the over 6,000 students and nearly 500 staff of our district's 3 traditional high schools, I want to thank the Women's Fund for your generous support. This support will allow us to launch year 1 of Sources of Strength on a firm foundation from which we can grow for years to come.
Thank you, Fran, and congratulations to the Santa Barbara Education Foundation and to the Santa Barbara Unified School District. And now I'm excited to share our next grantee. Our 7th grant for $100,000 goes to the Santa Barbara Public Library Foundation. This grant will enable the Santa Barbara Public Library to purchase and fully equip a library on-the-go mobile unit. The library already has bilingual staff who are ready to take this van into the community to increase access to library services. Please join me in welcoming Molly Wetta, Library Services Manager.
On behalf of the library team, thank you for your support. This grant will especially benefit the most vulnerable members of our community who currently aren't able to take advantage of all the library offers, whether because of transportation difficulties, language barriers, suspicion of institutions, or just a lack of awareness of all their library offers to everyone for free. How? By offering a lifeline to hundreds of learners through our adult literacy and workforce development programs, from single moms learning English and those out of work looking to transition to a new career. How many more members of our community could take advantage of these free opportunities? Your contributions enable more people to meet their educational goals. Hundreds of babies, toddlers, and preschoolers learn their ABCs, practice their fine motor skills with Itsy Bitsy Spider, and make their first friends at our dozens of weekly story times. And anyone who has ventured down to the children's library on any given morning and seen the stroller traffic jams knows they're filled to capacity. How many more young children and their caregivers could benefit from these programs if we took them to a park, community center, or school in their neighborhood? Your generosity will extend these early literacy classes to new locations across southern Santa Barbara County. School-age children get lost in magical stories and build friendships while learning engineering concepts at the library. But how many children don't have the opportunity to discover all that the library offers because their parents are working 2 jobs to make ends meet and don't have the time to take them to a class? Your support will allow us to bring our enrichment activities to them at after-school programs. Over the past few weeks, library staff have been adapting services in response to stay-at-home orders and making library services available virtually, from Zoom story times to English conversation groups to enhancing our digital collections. But what we've realized is that the most vulnerable members of our community, such as those without internet access or those who don't speak English, are the hardest for us to reach. Your support helps us extend the lifeline of the library to the places in the community that need it most. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly, and congratulations to the Santa Barbara Public Library Foundation and the Santa Barbara Public Library. I'm now happy to introduce our 8th grant in the amount of $60,000, which will go to SEE International to buy updated optometry equipment for its Santa Barbara Vision Care Program and Clinic. This purchase will expand their provision of comprehensive eye services to low-income children and adults. Please join me in welcoming Rachel Tennant, Vice President of Development, SEE International.
Thank you, Sabina. Hello, everyone. First of all, it is such an honor and a privilege to be here with you all this evening. This ceremony is a testament to the dedication and perseverance of the community, and especially the members of the Women's Fund. On behalf of the entire team at SEE International, we would like to extend our sincerest thanks to the Women's Fund for their greatly appreciated support. Here at SEE, our primary focus is to provide accessible eye care and sight-restoring surgeries to underserved people across the world, including right here at home. Our organization strives to improve the lives of each individual that we serve and by doing so, help strengthen our community as a whole. Like the little girl starting 1st grade that came to our clinic for a pair of glasses so she could excel at school. Like the hardworking single mother who received sight-restoring surgery so she could continue to provide for her family. Like the father who needed essential surgery so he could see his daughter receive her college diploma at graduation. Or like the grandmother who came to us to remove cataracts in both her eyes so she could see her grandchildren grow up. We are grateful to be able to serve the members of our community so that they could experience their lives to the fullest and bear witness to the moments that matter most. During this global pandemic, it is more important than ever to support each other and give back to our community. Even with our programs paused, we have adapted and found new ways to help essential workers in urgent situations. Recently, we were able to lend a helping hand to a truck driver who needed a pair of glasses. This was vital as his household income had been cut in half due to the COVID outbreak. Immediately, we connected with our partner clinic and were able to replace his lost glasses within hours so he could continue working. C is humbled to have received such an uplifting award during these challenging times. This means the world to us and the patients we serve. Once this pandemic subsides, we expect the demand for our services to be at an all-time high. As state closures have disallowed patients from seeking eye care in recent months, and many families are now experiencing economic hardship due to the rising unemployment. With the equipment funding provided by the Women's Fund, we will be fully prepared to serve the needs of our patients as quickly and as efficiently as possible. This funding will not only help C serve our community in these current troubling times, but it is a long-term investment that will benefit our local programs for many years to come. This new equipment will bring our local program services to the next level by allowing us to increase the number of patients we see and to improve the accessibility to patients with disabilities. Thank you again for joining us in our efforts and being an instrumental partner. Together, we will be there to better support the needs of our community. Thank you.
Congratulations to C International, and thank you for your presentation, Rachel. Our 9th and final grant for $65,000 goes to Showers a Blessing and the Interfaith Faith Initiative of Santa Barbara County to provide funding to purchase a new 3-stall shower bath combination trailer and to upgrade their used truck. This grant will allow Showers a Blessing to provide an additional 320 showers each month to our homeless population. Please welcome Ken Ralph, Executive Director, Showers a Blessing.
Hello. It's wonderful to be here with you this evening, kind of. This is very strange for me. I'm not used to Zoom at all. And I just am blown away by this gift, $65,000. It's the biggest thing we've ever received in our little project. And I'm almost speechless, but I tried. And so here's my speech to you. First, on behalf of our board and our volunteers and our great staff, we've got a little a note that I'd like to share. We are honored that the Women's Fund has included us in this year's amazing group of grant recipients. Your gift will transform the service of love that we offer to our friends and neighbors who, simply because they lack housing, find themselves struggling to gain access to the most basic of human needs. That's personal hygiene. And we thank you for your belief in the value of the work we do. I also want to extend a thank you on behalf of someone who can't be with us on this really special occasion in the life of this project. And that's one of our founders, the late Reverend Doug Miller. And I'm sure that Doug would be so proud and gratified that you've embraced his vision of what loving your neighbor can really mean when it's put into action. Our other founder, which you'll see in this picture right here, is somebody that probably a lot of you already know. And she is still coming to our sites once a week, handing out used clothing and lots of love to people who are coming to us for showers. And I have to say to you, Sandy, I hope you're out here watching this. Sandy, this whole project couldn't exist without you. And it's Doug and Sandy who had this crazy idea that there is power in showers. And they spent years up in Isla Vista and Goleta, just walking the streets and trying in any way they could to help people who who were unsheltered. And then when they encounter a person who was, brought particularly low, by this unending struggle to live this way, they would often bring somebody back to their house just to get a little relief. And they saw firsthand the transformation that a shower and some clean clothes could bring. They saw dignity and self-worth rekindled by this simplest of acts, delivered with loving kindness. So in the fall of 2014, there it is, Doug and Sandy launched Showers of Blessing with a 2-bathroom shower trailer that was donated by this very small church in Goleta called Christ Lutheran. Well, since then, over more than 5 years, that little trailer has provided showers of more than 28,000 showers to people who are experiencing homelessness. All out of that original trailer. Well, your gift will allow us to replace this trailer, this wonderful old workhorse, with a brand new one. And this new trailer will have 3 full bathrooms, and that'll allow us to provide 50% more showers at every one of our sites, our 7 sites a week. And also this is going to help us serve our customers, our guests much better, because we'll reduce the wait times tremendously at our sites. So I wish I could look in your eyes. I wish I could give each and every one of you on the Women's Fund a big hug, but obviously that's not going to happen. So let me just say thank you for your support and this wonderful gift that will allow us to continue to bring the healing power of a shower to our most vulnerable neighbors for many years to come. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Laurie. And congratulations to Showers of Blessing and the Interfaith Initiative of Santa Barbara County. To all our grantees, we are extremely thankful for the valuable work you do for our community. We look forward to seeing your projects develop over the coming year. So our heartfelt congratulations to one and all. And at this time, I would like to introduce Lynn Karlson, our membership chair, who will say a few words to close out our program.
Good evening, everyone. And to each of our grantees, congratulations. I echo Sabina when I say thank you so much for all of the outstanding services you provide to our community. And to Maureen, Sabina, and our entire team of volunteer researchers, a big thank you as well. They spent 10 months creating that ballot we all received in March, and we are so grateful for their hard work. In fact, even as we celebrate today's grantees, we are already collecting donations for our next grants pool to fund the awards we will give next spring. Renewing your Women's Fund membership is one way you can help the nonprofit sector, which has provided such critical services in our community. This coming year, they will need this transformational support of the Women's Fund more than ever. So please, go to the Women's Fund website and renew now for 2020. Well, not right now, give us about 5 minutes. And speaking of hardworking volunteers, I think you know that the Women's Fund is run by a whole host of talented volunteers, including those women that made today's virtual celebration come together. And we thank them. For me, volunteering for the Women's Fund has been so much fun and some of the most rewarding work I've ever done. If you would like to get more involved or you just need more information, we would love to speak with you. We also want you to keep watch for our new Women's Fund brochure. It is hot off the press and on its way to your home. The brochure captures the incredible record that we've built over the past 16 years. 1,100 members, $7.9 million in grants to more than 100 local programs, helping 100,000 women, children, and families. But what we do together is so much more than those numbers. It's about the people. It's about the lives we change together. Over the years, we've fed families, provided medical care to vulnerable neighbors, and helped young people realize their full potential. Together, we've helped house seniors and the homeless, provided refuge for troubled teens, and prevented violence to women and children. We've enabled transportation and access to critical services. And we've helped provide dignity and comfort to those that are reaching the end of their lives. At the Women's Fund, we're all about connections. Really, it's at the heart of everything we do. We connect with each other in order to make a difference in our community. Thank you for being generous Women's Fund supporters. And now I'd like to invite back all of the grantees. And because this is a celebration of grants, let's all raise a glass to celebrate and honor these remarkable agencies. For it is through our grantees that the Women's Fund is changing lives together. Thank you all for joining in this virtual celebration, and we look forward to seeing all of you in the fall. Thank you.